Hello everybody and a very warm welcome back to New Age F1. My name is Abe and once more I'll be on the commentary mic to take you all through for racing action here at the Bahrain Grand Prix, which should be round 10 of this championship, which I actually don't know how long it will be, but they're on it now and we'll take it through as we're here at Bahrain. We haven't got the championship standings unfortunately for the from previous weekend updated, but of course we just know one thing, and that is Tyron is still leading, and we have drivers out on the track already tonight, right here to go racing at the Bahrain Grand Prix that's been cancelled in 2026 Formula 1 real life while we are at it here in the virtual world. New Age F1 just moving towards the later stages of the season. Also, drivers are available, spots are available for recruitment. If you're a driver, if you'd like to join or drive in the New Age F1 Championship, you can join the Discord, which you could possibly, at the moment, either DM me on Instagram, that's currently coming up on your screen, or could either possibly drop a comment here in the live stream, and I'll drop a link to it later on. Or you could contact Edmund and Anona D's, but how that's going to be done, not quite sure. But let's look at this then. We've got Ryan, Devin, and Brando, all three out on the track as Brando's moving left and right, trying to put all the temperature in those soft compound tires. Maybe not really finding it easy, while the three drivers were out early, very early on the track, while it is Connabel, Bruno in Aston Martin with Freddie who's in the pits, with Midu in that Red Bull, Tyron still in the pits as well, followed by Michael, and D's currently out in that Ferrari on the track. Meanwhile, Ryan has started his flying lap along with Devin, while it's going to be Ryan who's going to head towards turn 2 and 3 now with the DRS wide open. His chance is going to be up there. Well, he's got 7th gear into it. He's going to go, where does he brake? Just after the 100 meter board and before the 50 meter board there on the exit, keeps it in 3rd, goes back to 4th, 5th and 6th now. Does he shift down or shift up? He still stays in 5th now, and still going to continue there, almost 5th and 6th right there. This is a bit of a heavy braking zone into the right hand of turn 8 that should be, while he's going to get back on power with overtake button on in P, 7th gear in, back into P. The 10, 9 and 10, one of the very hardest corners I'd possibly in terms of difficulty, especially turn 10. You have to make sure to really take really good care of it to not lock up into turn 11. This is almost a medium or a slow speed corner. Back on power yet again, and at the end of that middle sector, what time is Ryan going to be doing? 106.615. What about Devin at the end of this middle sector? 107.3. Surely Ryan is better than Devin at the moment on his flying lap, at least as it comes down to the middle sector into the final corner now. Stayed in 4th, back on power, right with the overtake button on, trying to make the most of it. What time are we going to be looking at? And it is 128.5455 is the benchmark time for everybody to beat. How close is Devin going to be? Quite far away, and nowhere near the time at all. 29.7, over a second slower. While who do we have to be the next driver closer to the finish line, and that is Brando. But how fast is he going to be? He's got 8th gear back to downshifting in 3rd, and he's going to get back on power. Slight bit of movement in the car, but still kept it as stable as possible. How fast will he be able to do? Any better? No, he can't. 29.748. He's going to have to go again. What about Midu? How good is this man doing? Meanwhile, Raichu has just begun their flying lap in that Red Bull. Meanwhile, we have a Haas, and that Haas should be of Connabel. They haven't been able to show us much magic throughout this season so far. Can they do it tonight? Can they do it right here in Bahrain? Meanwhile, Midu, he might have got a brilliant toe of the Haas there. Some absolute extra slipstream and somewhat speed, but is that going to be helpful? Maybe not, but just about enough. 129.559, and Michael's going to beat that already. The 29.1. Is it? How good is Bruno going to be in that Aston Martin? Not good enough, and it's time to come into the pits. Meanwhile, Tyron still sits in the pit lane, and maybe either he's going to try and do a last to first challenge, or he could possibly come out later, very late in the qualifying session and go again. So basically driver recruitment, what I was talking about, was going to be for next season. So hopefully all of that for next season, so just season 7 around here at New Age F1. But surely we'll update if there is anything. I'll probably make a post about it if drivers are willing to join soon. Meanwhile, Dees, he's got his teammate up in P6. Dees himself goes up to P4, 129.259. So only one driver in the 128 so far. And that might just be the Tyron effect then. Meanwhile, Raichu goes up to P4 as well, 29.2. 29.0 from Oliver. What a time from Ollie there. I'm in P2. Sure, he's still far away from the fastest time, but I think Ryan might have got the Tyron effect then. Well, every single other driver in the 129s, it is Ryan in the Mercedes who's got 28.455. Meanwhile, the McLaren of Michael should be coming into the pits, you'd expect. And yes, certainly, he indeed is coming into the pits. Is it going to be Raichu? Is it going to be Midu? Will be Midu. But he's, interestingly, he's done 2 laps on these soft tyres. And he's again decided to go for a lap now on these 2 lap soft tyres. So that's possibly going to be a little bit, of an improvement maybe he can find. But possibly just trying to save tyres. Possibly, just trying to not use all of those tyres or, wear them out. So he's probably going to be deciding on what he can do and may do. Not 47 hundredths of a second he improves by, and at least according to the mini-map, it looks like it's going to be the purple sector, at least in the first one. How fast is that as an overall lap? Well, we'll only find out when he's closer to the finish line. But as far as these things are concerned, and Raichu is going to be off. Meanwhile, Midu, 47 hundredths of a second improvement in that previous sector. What about the middle one now? He's got the time to beat at the end of that middle sector. How much is he going to improve by on his personal time? And that's over 2.5 tenths, 2.6 tenths on his previous time. Meanwhile, D's the man currently in P5. He's done an out lap right now as well, rather a prep lap. And only now will be coming in. Meanwhile, the Haas of Connable, 32.668, just behind Freddy, who's 31.8. Meanwhile, Midu, who's been looking pretty strong as an overall lap, but he's still going to stay where he was, 29.533. That's going to get him to P4, and Raichu is in P4. And I wonder if there has been a switch change, because I believe Raichu wasn't driving for Red Bull, if I remember correctly, or somebody else was promoted along with Midu to the Red Bull team. And as it was going to be the weight of our championship leader and our defending champion, Tyron, the man on your screen, gets to pole position, and not by a small margin, almost by a whole 1 second. And that's why he's in a league of his own. And maybe he should step to the sideline and retire now to allow others to get on. But certainly well done to Tyron there. So well done to a pole sitter, 127.448. I don't think he needs to come out anymore. Meanwhile, Days, who started his lap previously, is going to finish his lap right now. Will it be any faster? Yes, it will be! 128.968 and jumps up to P3. That is a nice lap time as well, with over 8 minutes still remaining in the qualifying session. Certainly has done a job well done, Mr. D's in that Ferrari. What about the McLaren of Michael, currently on an out lap? Meanwhile, Oliver in the pits, still in P4, while his teammate is just going to be beginning his flying lap right now. Meanwhile, Tyron is going to possibly come into the pits, and then it's the Red Bull of Raichu who is yet to complete his flying lap right there. But Brando in that McLaren is surely going to do a lap as he nearly on the exit of turn 11, loses the rear end, gets a bit on the curb, and that could have been a risky turn exit. Meanwhile, he's quite smooth over 7/10s he finds on his time. He needs those minimum 7/10s, and if he does actually find those 7/10s, he's going to go all the way up to P4. So those 7/10s are going to be very crucial. But how crucial and how much has he done, though, as an overall lap? That's what all matters at the end of the day. And that's about 4.5 tenths. Still, it will be good enough for P7 and will jump up from his position previously. But it would have been even better had he found those 2 more 10s. Could have at least found himself near the top 5, or at least pushed his teammate down. Meanwhile, Devon is on an outlap, and Daze is going to come into the pits. Well, Connable in that Haas finds 5/10 as an overall lap, and that's going to be over 1.1 seconds, and moves up ahead of Freddie. While 3 drivers who still yet haven't got a time on the board. That is Bruno in the Aston Martin, going around the medium tire. That's like turning in a fight, bare hands. But that's going to be Ian, who goes up to P8, and a little bit away from his teammate, but still decent enough. Meanwhile, Michael in the McLaren at 1:28.7 has jumped up everybody and has done even better. I mean, well, only 1 driver now remains who hasn't got a time on the board. That is DJ in that Alpine. Well, I believe it was DJ. If I think so. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was him. No, I think it was who was in the Red Bull seat. Meanwhile, Raichu, the man who currently is in a Red Bull and certainly wants to keep that Red Bull, and he can keep it as he's found in 10th, and he's still going to be in P6, but 1:21.91, and the gaps are quite closer and very close. You know, you'd expect from P1 to P4. Tyre in the 1:27s, while Daze, Ryan and Michael in the 1:28s. While every single other driver from P5 all the way down to P10 in the 1:29s, while 31 for Cannibal, 31.8 for Freddie, and 32.5 for Bruno in the Aston Martin. And pretty much with 5 minutes just remaining, the final runs in the qualifying session will begin. For remember, everybody will start from all the drivers, and Killer has joined us in the qualifying session, and I wonder if they're going to be doing a lap in quali, or they're going to join us during the race. But well done, certainly well done to the driver for joining us during qualifying, and hopefully we'll have not 14 but 15 drivers start the Grand Prix. Meanwhile, DJ, the only driver on the track who hasn't got a time on the board, and he'll move over up to P11, 1:30.4. And now we've got quite a lot of different times then, as it stands. 1:30 from DJ, 1:29 from most of the grid, while 3 of them in the 1:28 and 1 in 1:27s. Well, Ryan is over a second behind his teammate, but he might not get closer still. He's far away from the rest of the people, while Killer tried to come in and then leave again. Maybe he said, okay, I'm going to head out. Thank you very much. You know, 3.5 minutes now remain in the qualifying session. We could have it, though. Maybe somebody gets closer to Tyron. Is it going to be Michael? Is it going to be Ryan? Or even Dees? Along with Oliver, who could get closer. Followed by Raichu and Devon. All of those guys in the 29 ones as well. Surely have kind of an equal chance right there. 2.5 minutes now remain, just about 2 minutes. Those out on the track should be starting their flying laps, and those in the pits will need to come out quite quickly. Otherwise, it could get messy, could get interesting, because you get it done, you'll be there, but if you do not, you might find it really difficult in the end, and if traffic's anything to go by. Meanwhile, Ryan has found 94 milliseconds on his time, at least in that first sector, but how good of an overall lap that will be, we'll only find out when we see him go over the line. Meanwhile, the Red Bull of Midu, I believe that's going to be, he's down in P10, has slowed down, possibly to let his teammate get past. Maybe he's going to try and get some toe off his teammate, because that could essentially be the plan, as the two teammates are now going at it. Certainly, by this gap, either Raichu's going to have to back out of it, or it's going to be Midu who's possibly going to compromise his lap. But I'd assume it's going to be Raichu who gets out of the way. Otherwise, it could compromise on Midu's lap time. Certainly, he's going to possibly get a toe, you know, let's say in the turn 1 around here, and on the exit of turn 10 as well. But throughout the tight sections of, you know, the one right-hander, but then after that, turns 5 and 6 coming up ahead into turn 7 and 8 as well, which could be a little bit of a problem, but at least not at the moment. Seems fine so far. Meanwhile, you know, and what else seems fine, and that is Ryan, who is not fine at all. Might have made a mistake then, and he's over many seconds behind and has compromised on his time. Or no, in fact, he's found an improvement. Sorry about that, we might have missed that then, because we were focused on other things. He certainly found an improvement, completed a lap, and came back into the pits. 28.361. Surely he might not got closer to his teammate because he's in a league of his own, but he's going far away from others. That's going to give him a good time. And Ollie, who's currently on an invalidated lap, but that certainly means that he's going to go again. And no, he's not going to do that. That's going to be qualifying over for Oliver as well, but I believe he's found time. Surely, yes, he has. And that's going to be checkered flag, ladies and gentlemen. Those coming up over the line are going to be over and will not go again. And Raichu goes up to the top, but he doesn't need to go again, as he's going to jump up over to P4. And what a qualifying session for Raichu in top 4, while Midu is down in P10. Well, a couple of other drivers now on their flying laps, and I mean, we've missed out many laps in here, because Ollie, and then along with Ollie, Ryan, we didn't even realize they came over the line, and while we were focused on some other drivers, they got it done. You know, D's currently in P6, nearly needs 210s to get past Ollie right there, or could even get closer to Raichu if he gets over 210s on a full lap. Meanwhile, is it going to be Michael over the line? Yes, it will be him over to the finish line. He's going to stay P3, but will improve further away and make it really hard for everybody else to catch up. Well, Freddy is on a lap along with Dees. Freddy's going to go up and take the checkered flag. So will Dees. And Dees is going to move up and push the Red Bull down into P4. While Tyron, already on pole, will not improve this time. But he doesn't need to improve, as he gets pole position and he'll keep it. And it's a Mercedes 1-2, ladies and gentlemen, in qualifying. And a Mercedes front row lockout right here. That is going to be a certain one they'll enjoy. I mean, it's pretty much been a Mercedes dominant season so far, and it keeps happening right there. Man on your screen right now, Tyron, along with his teammate Ryan, are Mercedes 1-2 with Evil, and we haven't watched out on our in-race stewards, but possibly we haven't got anything. And yeah, we at least haven't got anything so far. That just means that we have, you know, basically the case of, you know, in we have got live stewarding, so there was nothing in qualifying pretty much to be a case of, or at least what our stewards would have caught, unless they weren't present at this race. I haven't got much information about that, but certainly I think during the race we'll get more of it. But these are your qualifying results then, ladies and gentlemen. Qualifying ends. It is Tyron on pole, Ryan in P2 with Evil, D's, Raichu, Special, Ian, Devon, Brendo and Midu in the top 10. Outside are DJ, Connable, Freddy, and Bruno. And that's 14 drivers in the qualifying session right here, which will start for the Bahrain Grand Prix. It'll be 29 laps of racing, projected 2-stop strategy. Could even get 1 stop from the likes of Tyron, who does actually do that. Actually, last time I streamed on Friday, it was... No, actually, I did it on Saturday, but a race I actually did on Friday was at Bahrain, and it was a day race. Well, all those years ago, it used to they used to race on during the day in Bahrain and in real life Formula 1, but it's always been the night time, and we've seen the Bahrain City Circuit under the lights circuit, but... that was a nice experience, but I think obviously under the lights it's a lot better because deserted area and certainly in the lights, cooler conditions. It could be different though, because the strategy I watched out of the 2-stop one, sure, it was because of safety cars, but I'm not denying it's not going to be a 2-stop, but it could even be a 1-stop because a lot of the drivers in that race also start on the medium or the soft tire, and that was during the day. And if you raced on this game, it matters a lot, especially in terms of temperatures, because let's say if you have the soft tire during the scorching heat of Bahrain or Sakir, and the track temperature is really high during the day, your soft tire is not going to last you more than 3 or 4 laps. But under cooler conditions, it could go a little bit better. So, I mean, still, we're about to find out what we're going to do. And in fact, we're all 3 tires, and certainly Tyron, along with Devin, the 2 on the harder compound tire, and there's surely then getting one thing, and that is getting themselves out of the safety car window very early on, because very early a safety car could possibly compromise their pit stop, but I think they are going to be planning on that. So interestingly, 2 drivers on the hard compound tire, while Ryan Michael D's Raichu, along with DJ and Freddy on the medium compound tire, with the two RBs, Ollie and Ian on the soft compound tire, along with Brendo and Midu, with Conabel and Bruno on the soft tire as well. So all different tire compounds and all the mix of it for the first 29 laps. Not for the first, I mean it's about all 29 laps, rather that'll be the case. And the drivers are about to make it to the end of the grid, and as soon as they are, we'll be ready for 5 lights out and racing action. And we're ready here with the Bahrain Grand Prix. It's a Mercedes front row lockout with the Ferrari and the McLaren at the back in P3 and 4. It's going to be Tyron and Ryan. 5 red lights out, and we go racing here to the Bahrain Grand Prix. And the hard tyre has not really got off the line nicely at all. In fact, he has actually. And Tyron surprisingly has enough tyre temperatures, and there's going to be chaos at the very back. It's going to be a Ferrari, Red Bull, and a McLaren involved. So much chaos has unfolded, and already at the start it's going to be a virtual safety car. Not sure what happened there. Dees has got no front wing. In fact, yes, he has no front wing indeed. At the very start, now it's a full safety car from a virtual one. It converted. So many people have now got a penalty for gaining places and collisions, and 10 seconds to Devin. He's got a penalty. With everybody has got a 10 or 20 seconds penalty. Connabell, 10 seconds, 20 seconds for 20 seconds for DJ, 10 for Ian, and 10 for Ryan. And the Mercedes driver who started on the front row is down in P11. And as we talked about, and another 10-second time penalty for Midu. This was the most chaotic start I have seen in many, many months, and that surely, not just sure what exactly happened, I think it's going to be a nightmare for our race steward as well to really do all that, while Ian, Oliver's going to try and get past the Red Bull of Raichu, who I wonder has got the front wing. Yes, he has, but Dees has not. And a very early safety car. Obviously, I don't expect nobody to pit those on the soft tire. Sure, because I mean those with damage will pit, otherwise nobody else is going to be pitting. Meanwhile, we're about to find out what's going to happen. It was Dees, it was all these guys. I saw the Ferrari, McLaren, and a Red Bull, I feel like, colliding with each other, and just not sure what happened. Bruno's now retired on the middle of the track, and Dees is going to come into the pits along with Raichu. After such a good qualifying for these two, they're going to have a trip to the pit lane to possibly serve their penalties as well, which really early on in Ferrari are double stacking. And I think Davids came in to serve his penalty, I'd assume, because that only seems to be making the most sense right here about now. And with these guys with all the penalties, Connabell sees himself in P3. That's a big jump for the Haas driver. A dream start. He could, you could say he's got. Doubtful of how many laps he's going to run in there, but at least for now he's got it, and he should be more than okay. Now, as it stands, then lap 2 out of 29, and chaos has unfolded already here in Bahrain. It was like nobody really got off the line nicely, because we were only focusing on Tyron, how he of a start he got off the line, especially being on the hard tire, because that tire, it's really like driving on ice, especially race starts with cold tires, is quite hard. And black flag, and it is a black flag for Dees. And we were watching out what was going to be happening, and it's a black flag for Dees for taking out 3 people. And certainly now we know what happened. Possibly would have been the case of simply, not really driving, possibly not getting off the line quite correctly, and that would have compromised his lap. And indeed, it's a 2-stop race, but now with the safety car already in, it's going to be an interesting situation on what we're going to get. But you should see the Ferrari of Dees coming into the pits and retiring the car, as they have been black flagged for taking out 3 cars. It's a matter of when they do that, or how long will they realize they have been black flagged, because they're going to get into the digital world of communication as well before the message is conveyed to them. And I wonder if they're going to come into the pits or retire the car on the track either. We're about to find out, though, because certainly things are not yet finalized. So I'm not seeing penalties for anybody else, though, and okay, so somebody, okay, then he's got words then on the team radio. He comes out, there is somebody, along with him took out, and they've said sorry, so that is interesting. A sorry works out to not really get themselves a black flag right there, because apparently they claimed somebody else was involved as well. I mean, at the start it felt like it was just him not going off the line correctly, and then unless he was trying to go side by side, or simply he went onto them and then lost the car. But he's going to come in. It's like the FIA will ignore that or let that slide in. But the safety car should be coming in this lap. It shouldn't be longer than that. A lap 4 restart for racing once more should begin before Tyrone pulls away. many seconds unless Special on the soft tire along with Connabel and Midu could attack. Surely Tyron's got speed, but that soft tire is going to be feeling a lot better. Way better on that car, because now you see already Tyron's going left and right to try and warm that tire up, try and get extra bits of temperature he can in those tires. Everybody is doing that. And he's going to go for it already without wasting no time. And he's going to be at it. Has he got over it? He might have, though, because he's got a pretty decent start. Meanwhile, Midu is right behind Connabel as well. Connabel might go for it on the inside in turn one. He's rather going to be very patient, but he doesn't. He might not need to, though, as Special's going to run very wide, but Connabel's still not going to be able to get past. Certainly, I think just trying to avoid, and I'm not sure whether he's racing on the keyboard, but it felt like it felt like that. And yep, the way he's making those steering movements, it feels like he's racing on the keyboard, or could be the controller. But it feels like, I'm not sure, but certainly that would explain. But ooh, that little snap doesn't feel like it. Maybe I think that little snap did feel like he's on the wheel, but we'd never know. Meanwhile, Midu now within a couple of turns. Meanwhile, Brando will get past, and it is DJ in that Alpine, loses a couple of positions, but it's going to be Raichu and DJ who are going to be side by side along with Devon. It's going to be 3 wide into 10, 11. They go. Who's going to be the driver, the bravest, taking the position? It's going to be the Alpine, and the Ripple go side by side, but DJ will prevail success as he gets past the two. And no, in fact, it's going to be Devon who's going to come back then. Devon backed out, waited all of this and watched this impatient before he got past everybody else. While Midu is now going to be just 2 tenths behind Connabel. Connabel runs a little bit wide. That might allow these guys, Midu at least behind him, to get past. You know, a lot of drivers closer to each other like that. Action would happen. I think Midu's not close enough, while the action at the back is DJ is falling down, tumbling down to the back, while Deez is going to be there, the Ripple of Raichu. Meanwhile, the RB is going to go on the inside line, sends it on the McLaren. McLaren off it. Michael's pushed a little bit wide, but he's going to come back on the track and rejoin safely. Meanwhile, the Ferrari of Deez is now going to try and get past the McLaren of Brendo. Michael. He will get past the McLaren of Michael right there after dodging a black flag. Certainly he's back on power and trying to make a comeback after a horrendous race start. Well, at the front of the field, it is Brando. Freddy, what is he doing in P5? Well, he's going to be now in P6. There might be a chance for him to go on the inside along with Devon brilliantly because of this early safety car and a lot of incidents. It's going to be on Alright, the black flag has been reconsented due to wrongful penalization, and that only means one thing. That is no black flag for Mr. Deez. He's gonna not really be getting that right there, while I mean, we announced that already. Meanwhile, Ian's going to be going for it on Brando on the inside. Gets past him right there, but into 10. Won the attack. Might be a lot as we'll now watch out for it. It's going to be Freddy and Ian who is going to be able to get past. Will Freddy be able to defend? Not so, though. Well, both of them on the medium compound tire. Freddy might stay there around the outside. And what an aggressive braking move. And that's going to lose him so many positions. And he's down in P10 now. He went absolutely late on the brakes, and certainly was never going to make that corner and had to run wide and loses out many positions from P5 all the way down to P10. All the hard work that was going to be courtesy of a lot of many things involved. He's going to have to lost out, well, really early though. I mean, we're only 6 laps in. And out of that, we've done 2 to 3 laps under the safety car. Meanwhile, Brando now really close to Deez, and Deez will have an opportunity to get past the McLaren of Brando right here into 10-11. Well, we might see gaps pulling away at the front of the field. Midfield battles are at it. And fight for that 6th place all the way down to P10 is on with Ryan. Oh, he nearly goes into the back of the RB there. Does Brando. He has to back out. And Dees will get past him. The DRS will open on the McLaren. So will it on the Ferrari. No DRS for the RB. And Dees is rapidly arriving behind him. They're going to be side by side. Who's going to be able to make pass and get break on the part? Or is Ian going to get a switch back there? And he certainly will not be able to do that. But now, even before the DRS gets enabled, Ian's going to be at it, and he will be able to get past him right there. Into turn 4 they go. Ortiz is going to come back around the outside. They're going to be wheel to wheel. Both of them, amazing car control. And the Ferrari driver will get past the sugar-free Red Bull. And the move is on. And we get an overtake while both Ferraris are in P5 and 6. Oh, that is now interesting. Connabel and Devon are going at it. Both the drivers fighting very up the field right there. Is Connabel's going to send it on the inside line. Nearly has to back out. He almost went for a switch back there, but almost has to back out right there eventually. But well done to Connabel, running for it there for a little bit longer time, and Connabel will have the opportunity. Dees runs a little bit wide. They're going to be wheel to wheel. Meanwhile, Ian now might try and get past Connabel here as well on the eggs onto the end of the middle sector, and Connabel's going to run a little bit wide, and surely those soft tires are not going to give him much grip right now anymore, and that explains it. Meanwhile, the two McLarens are going to be going at it as Connabel is not going to be back out of it at all. I mean, he's taking a little bit too much extra care, because if he's a little bit aggressive, he could get past these guys. He's going to use ERS, DRS, all he's got, and keep his P6. And well done, he surely, I mean, the guy can race. We might have not seen him to be wheel to wheel or be racing at the front of the field, but the opportunity he's got, I have to say, he's not disappointed at all. Because, and that's now going to be an opportunity for Ian to get past, and understandably so. He's going to get past the Haas. He's done over 7 laps on those tyres now. A little bit wide he goes. He might not have the speed, but I mean, sure, but automatically somehow you'd expect, somebody who's probably a little bit down on pace with everybody, maybe doesn't have much wheel-to-wheel experience. But I think he's at least been taking care. Maybe even if he's not having way too many close battles, as now the McLaren has to avoid the Haas, having to back out of it. And I've seen both the McLaren taking action to avoid the car behind. Maybe they're just running a little bit too closer to the cars right there. While at the front of the field, it's Tyron on the hard compound tire, who leads by over 5 seconds almost. Not 4.9 ahead of Oliver, and Ollie's doing a brilliant job along with Midu in P3, P2 and 3 for these drivers on 7 and 8 laps on those soft compound tires, while Devin in the Ferrari as well in P4, Ferrari 4 and 5 is a brilliant one, while Ian is 1.1 seconds behind Dees. Meanwhile, Brando now is within a second of Ian and has got DRS. Meanwhile, Connabel is in P8 now, might be on the verge of losing the position to Michael there, but will he be losing that? But soft tire can do a lot of laps, as the McLaren's going to go for it. They might be side by side, but Connabel has to back out. 8 laps on the hard soft tire, but I mean, you could say in the case of Connabel, he's losing positions, but considering everybody else on those soft tires is still going strong, maybe the tire is not the case, or obviously it happens. It depends on how much tire you manage, and I'd expect him with not much experience of racing at the front, his tire wear would be a lot more than, let's say, the likes of Ole, Midu, or Dees, because those guys on the soft tires might have just a bit of more experience of racing around, a bit of tire management, which possibly Connabel might not, as Freddy's going to go for it now on the inside on that medium compound tire. They're slightly going to make contact, but Freddy will get past him, and Connabel is now down in P11, but I'd expect him to come into the pits soon now to get himself a chance. Meanwhile, now DJ is in the pits, and he's got himself a brand new soft compound tire. Interesting to see, because let's see what tire did he go from. He went to a medium soft, and that's interesting. And is it his AI racing? it might be his AI because the car is ghosted, and that only happens when the AI is there, and the AI might have decided to come into the pits. Meanwhile, Brando is going to be really closer to the RB of Ian, and surely will get the chance on the hard compound tires compared to the medium. Maybe, just maybe, you'd say the medium tire might be a little bit quicker than the hard tire so far, but still is going strong right there so far as it stands, because you know, it seems fine at the moment, at least. Meanwhile, it's going to go wide. It's going to go very wide, but it'll come back just in time. Could have been a little bit risky for him to rejoin right after, but I mean, he didn't really run too wide. He simply went around a little bit on the exit. He's going to come back just in time. Now, lap 11 out of 29. Our race leader should be in lap 10, I believe. Lap 11 indeed, yes. And they're going to be still on those same hard tires. They don't need to pay. Their teammate Ryan still in P9 as well, but they might have came into the pits, or I'm not sure who it was, because I for a moment thought it was a Mercedes in the pits, but I might have been a little bit wrong about that. Meanwhile, the two McLarens are still behind the RB and are unable to get past. Meanwhile, the soft tire runners have come into the pits, and all those on medium and hard tires will move away. And certainly the medium tire now might not be performing the best at it, as Ian's been in that pressure from Brando and Michael for a while, but they haven't been able to get past the RB. Haven't been able to make an impact so far. Possibly they're playing the patience game, but you can't be patient for too long behind a driver who's slower than you. But obviously, I'm in maximum a lap or two. And after that, that hard tire is going to be certainly quicker than the medium tire. So it's only a matter of time before they get past him, as they're still taking very much care. And I think, oh, he might go for it there. That was quite risky. Both of them almost braked at the very same time, and that could have certainly not ended well. While Special is back at it, already making moves, and gets past Ready back into P6, while everybody else has on older tires. Oliver is going to attack back from brand new tires. Meanwhile, we were watching Ian not able to be overpassed by one of the McLarens. It's going to be Michael who gets past Brando and overtakes his teammate. And these two are going to be fighting each other now. And that's only going to benefit Ian. Or is he going to benefit him, though? Because Brando now is going to be absolutely closer and closer. They're going to be side by side. He's going to be gaining. And he's gaining. But will he be able to get past there? Because Ian sends it in there. Still side by side. But eventually has to back out and lose the position, as he was not close enough to get the move down. But he'll get it again. Will he be able to get that into the right hander? Yes, he will be able to do that, and he gets it done. But he's going to run it a little bit wide. That'll allow the McLaren to come back at him. They'll still almost be will to will, but that certainly isn't going to be the case, and we'll have to back out of it eventually right there. Oh, he's going to go back into it. And finally, as I say, because we saw both the McLarens avoiding action behind the RB for a long time, as Brando finds himself going to the back of the RB. And I wonder if there's going to be any diffuser damage to the RB, or just a bit of front wing damage to the McLaren there. He's lost his front wing M plate on the right hand side. But in these ground effect cars, it's a lot different. You know, let's say all those years ago, before 2022, in 2020 or 2021, if you even lost slight bit of part of your front wing, the car would be certainly undrivable. The car will be very undrivable. Meanwhile, Brando, he might be undrivable right now, as he nearly gets passed by Michael, but comes back on the track, and possibly Michael just has to back out, or certainly isn't really thinking, and there's a penalty. There is a penalty for Raichu, and it is for my life steward Wig. Is a 10-second time penalty for Raichu for an unsafe rejoin, causing wing damage to the Mercedes front wing. Which Mercedes front wing damage he's caused to? Is it Tyron? He doesn't seem to be. Might be Ryan, and yes, it is Ryan who's got the front wing damage caused by the Red Bull, who's got a 10-second time penalty on top of his already 3-second time penalty for track limits. Meanwhile, currently drivers with penalties, it's 3 seconds to Ian and Michael, with 13 seconds to Dees for his race start awarded by the game, while Raichu 3 seconds and 10 seconds to Cornerbelt. Cornerbelt now pitted, but I feel like, yeah, he slightly went a little bit late because I think his tires would have been done because of him pushing and fighting each other off. He lost out, but certainly nice little battles, and I think this probably would be a race he himself personally would enjoy, because racing is one thing, but you know, actually racing and having battles wheel to wheel is another. And these two McLaren drivers, and I'm convinced that these guys are taking care and rather playing as a team rather than fighting each other off, because there's no way if this wasn't one of their teammates, they'll be this much patient. And now Oliver on that new tire of that medium compound will get past the Mercedes of Ryan into P5 and closer to those McLarens. 2.3 seconds still. Meanwhile, Ryan might come back at the RB, and he will come back at the Pink Red Bull, as we call it, all sorts of names. Oh, do that RB team. He's nearly going to be on the inside, and Special went round the outside, try and give him as much space as he could. But they certainly slightly make a little bit of contact, and that'll be a bit of touchings to be done while we're almost halfway distance through. Lap 14 out of 29, not yet halfway done, but well done. Meanwhile, Ian is going to be in that pressure finally from the McLarens now, but no, still Brendo's not able to get past. Still Brendo's not even trying to get past him, because sure, Ian's got the speed, but I think possibly now what Brendo's doing, you know, he's simply giving DRS to his teammate. He's getting the DRS himself, and he's just staying behind him, possibly charging the battery as much as he can as well, and simply getting the job done right here, rather than trying to fight Ian again and again, which would compromise a lot, you know, on those tires and everything. But now Oliver on those newer tires, on those tires that are better than the ones ahead, while Evil is going to come into the pits. Michael has decided to come into the pits on those 12-lap older hard tires, so those tires are not going much, and that would explain, as Ollie goes a little bit wide, he's going to have to back out, and in fact he's not able to get past the McLaren either. Yeah, so exactly as, you know, the drivers have went for 13 laps on those hard tires, you know, one could only imagine how good, or what is Ian going to be doing, because he's certainly on those 13-lap old mediums. And kudos to him, despite making a couple of mistakes, or slightly going a little bit wide here and there, he's been able to do a fantastic job to stay ahead of those McLarens, while it's Dees who's ahead of his teammate Devon in that Ferrari. The top three certainly will pit, but Tyron already 31 second he leads by. That is a huge moment. Meanwhile, Ollie will go for on the inside into turn 11, and that's going to be side by side, still wheel-to-wheel action between the two drivers. Is it going to be the McLaren or the RB of Special to get past the McLaren around the outside? One of the hardest corners to overtake, and he gets the move done. Certainly, and now he's going to wish that his teammate has him within DRS and gets the rear wing open for him. Meanwhile, one McLaren pitted the other lap. We might see the other one coming in this lap as well. What are we going to watch out for? No. And it's going to be Ian who's going to come into the pits after 14 laps on those medium compound tires. Certainly got all of it. And did he start on that tire? I don't think so. I think he made a pit stop already under the safety car, but a hard tire and a new front wing should see him go to the end of this race. Now, proper two-stop strategy. Meanwhile, Midu, along with Ollie on new tyres, is going to be challenging the McLaren of Brando, who didn't decide to pit no more. But it's going to be Midu who makes the move around the outside at the end of the first sector. We'll get the move done. We're lap 16 into lap 16 out of 29. Meanwhile, the two Ferraris are within a second of each other as well. Just like the two McLarens, the two Ferraris find themselves quite close. But on the opposite tyre, though, D's on the 5-lap older medium tyre. Devon is on a set of hards. It's going to be a bit of an interesting thing to see. Well, Ryan, after that horrendous start, hasn't been able to recover and find himself in P9 and 8. Sure, he's on brand new tyres, so maybe, let's say, when the likes of the Brando and a couple of others decide to pit, or at least, you know, their tyres are out of grip before the end of this race. They could fight them or attack since they're on brand new tyres. Well, 2 laps only for Ryan, and it's no laps for Ian, who's going to be on cold tyres. Those cold, hard compound tyres might find him very difficult to keep it ahead of the Mercedes, but how long will he be able to keep it ahead of the Mercedes? I think unless he was way too damaged, was Ian's front wing, he could, you know, possibly shouldn't have pitted, but he rather decided to make a pit stop. Meanwhile, it is going to be Ian who's going to, or Ryan rather, in fact, within a second of the RB. The DRS will be open, and the help of that bit of ERS being used is going to be getting closer and closer to that RB. Both of them have near to no battery, but he's slightly going to have to back out. Meanwhile, an Alpine comes out of the pits, but he's a gusted car, and I wonder if he's still in the session though, because his strategies have been quite wild, and that explains he's not in the car at all. I'd assume he's lost the session and hasn't been able to make the progress. Meanwhile, Midu, all that speed that he would have been saving for earlier is going to be showing, as he only is a possibly about 5 tenths and half a second behind Ollie, and Oliver is going to do all he can to defend, but that second place might be in a bit of trouble from Midu, considering these guys would need to go to the end of this race as well, possibly on these tires, unless they decide to come into the pits within 4 to 5 laps from right now, because, you know, both of them currently have made just one stop. So just one stop for the two, and it could be interesting. Everybody's made 2 stops, and ooh, that's going to be Devon who's going to get past Dees, and Dees is into the pits then, so that is interesting. Who's already made 2 stops. So yeah, as I said, you know, only 2 drivers for Eddie and Connabel have made 1 stop, and 3 stops for Raichu. 8 stops for DJ. 8 stops. That's more stops than overtakes he might have made this race then. I know it's the AI, but 8 stops is quite crazy, and that's something I've probably haven't seen in years. To say. Meanwhile, Midu is ever closer to Oliver in that RB, and he's certainly finding it very difficult. Remember, Raichu has a 10-second time penalty, and that's all. But you know, it is what it is for them so far. Meanwhile, all the other things are going at it. Meanwhile, Tyron's now into the pits. Will go over to the medium compound tire, and that's going to be it. And as I said, a 1 stop would be possible for the 1 man, and that 1 man is Tyron, over 34 seconds ahead of the next car. And by the time these guys join the main straight, he's already out of the pit exit and onto the second DRS straight. Meanwhile, Midu still within 6, still with the ERS, with DRS, doing all of that, but he's got no battery. Has Oliver has got absolutely no battery. Meanwhile, Devon is going to gain another place with the McLaren of Brando pitting. And an interesting thing from Evil then. Meanwhile, Midu will finally get past. Midu will get past, and the overtake is done on Ollie. 8 lap for both of them, and possibly I'd assume for both of these guys to come into the pits, unless they decide to go to the end. should be coming up to the end of pit into the pit lane within a couple of laps now. Maximum they're going to do about 10 or 11 laps on those mediums. If they are to go to the end of this race, they'll need to do, you know, completing this lap. It'll be 9 laps on the stars, and they'll need to do over 10 laps, so nearly 19 to 20 laps on those medium compound tires, which would be quite difficult and quite impossible as well. Like, it's not impossible, but it needs a lot. It's, yeah, let's say it needs a lot for it to be possible, or for it to be, you know, made possible, you know, on it. So it would be interesting, and we'll be on it. While a lot of things are on, a lot of things are going to be at it. Ian's into the pits already, and as I said, maximum 2 laps on those mediums, but probably not. And now the second pit stop is going to be a time on it, as a lot of gaps are forming up in the race. Tyrant leads ahead of Mido in P2, with Devon is going to take that 3rd place. But maybe if that first place is sorted, none of the other places are sorted in this race at all. And brilliant from Ollie for a hard tyre. Did he go for the hard, or we might have to take it in race director? And for special, what tyre are we looking at in this race? And that was a soft tyre, so a soft medium. That's an interesting strategy as well, to make the 2-stop break. And I think now he doesn't need to worry about those tyres, and he could certainly push to the very end of this race, which would make it very easy for him, and we'll have fun. Meanwhile, we might have lost action at the front, but that's not the case at the back of the grid, at least in the midfield, as Freddy is going to run absolutely wild, and the action is going to be in front of our screens, as Dees will get past, and the overtake is going to be done, as Midu and Michael are going to be into the pits. Meanwhile, Ian has caught up to his teammate in P6, as he's going to get special, is going to get into P2 as well, and that'll be P3. And now all depends if Devon's going to go to the end on those hard tyres, or come into the pits if he is to do that. Meanwhile, Ian has found himself behind Midu, who's currently in 3rd place. But now things could get interesting. Things could get very interesting to the end of the Grand Prix, while our race leader Tyrone leads by over 29 seconds. The rest of the grid might or might not find it very difficult. So as far as stands, Tyrone in the lead, Devon in P2, Oliver in P3, with Midu in P4, and it's Ian in P5. Then it is Ryan in P7. He's recovered in P6, but he's going to run out of grip sooner rather than later, so just scoring points would be more than enough for him, while the 2 McLarens of Brando and Michael in P7 and 8, with D's in P9. A lot of penalties as well, so do keep that to consideration. To the end of the Grand Prix, which could change results. It's not going to affect massively, but as compared, you know, as these gaps are, but still it could be a little bit with Freddy in the final point scoring positions. I mean, Raichu has got 6-second time penalty in the game, and 10-second for his unsafe rejoin, damaging the wing on the Mercedes, with Conabel on brand new soft tires now in P12, find himself, while it is DJ who's in P13 as well. While 2 McLarens are closer to each other, they're certainly not close enough to be making moves or getting overtakes done, while Ian is the closest to Mido in this race, and that is 1.5 seconds. Obviously, depending on the track, and Michael has gained that much time. Look at that. We just looked at him a moment ago, and it was over 3 seconds between the two teammates. And that, ladies and gentlemen, has to be a lot of a gap that's been lost out, unless he slowed down, and surely he has slowed down to get himself or his teammate in the DRS zone, I'd assume, because that's the only way I'd expect this to go, because I can't think of this much position lost or time lost for a driver with an over 3 seconds gap. Sure, he might have made a mistake, but personally, simply, that's what I'd believe. You know, in terms of technical terms, this is what they've done. Eventually, well, Ian is now getting towards a second closer to Mido as well, but he's on 7 lap old hards, while Mido's got 2 lap old hards, and I think those 2 lap older tires are certainly going to be faster, so not a lot will be differentiating the two drivers before the end of the Grand Prix. Meanwhile, the two McLaren teammates are going to be going at it, and maybe they're trying to create a fight of their own. It's going to be Michael who goes round the outside. Brendan's going to stick round the inside, and Brando will have to concede the place and loses out to his teammate. Well, Michael will get the 7th place. The McLaren's fighting for P7 and 8 in this race are going at it, but should expect at least Ryan in that Mercedes to get out of the way. Not quite sure about Ian. And considering Devon, how much places they're going to lose if Devon is to come into the pits. But I think Devon now should be coming in at the end of at least this lap. A lot of same goes for Ian as well. Or either these guys are going to decide to go to the end of this race on these tires, because this would certainly mean, you know, you're going to do it now or you're going to do it very, very late. And it would certainly not make a lot of difference if they're to do later on, because they're only going to lose positions. And yeah, no, simply it's a case of, you know, they're going to pit, they're going to think they've got enough speed, and then maybe they're going to, you know, be faster on, let's say, a soft tire, but it's not going to be the case. You know, even Freddie's now pitted, but he's over 10 seconds behind the next car right shoot. And then these remaining laps, he's simply not going to have enough laps to catch on. And now, with the penalties up, with penalties, you know, applied to, let's say, 3 seconds to Ollie and 10 seconds to Mido, along with 6 seconds to Ian. It just might promote Ryan up the top, along with Devon, who's 37 seconds behind Tyrone, but 4 seconds ahead of Ollie, who will need to pull over 3 seconds after overtaking him. Devon might be on his way for a Ferrari podium. That might be brilliant after a long, long time. A Ferrari, second Ferrari, other than these fighting at the top, and it is Devon who's got to be at the top. And as soon as he got a very good start, and now Ryan is behind, getting caught up by the two McLarens. Is it going to be Michael or is it going to be Brendo? As it stands, it surely has to be Michael, and now these guys are going to try and get past, you know, indeed try and get past these guys so far, while we'll find out a lot of things. Oh, that's going to be a time. Michael might try and go around the outside already, even before they get to the DRS detection point. And certainly he's going to try and let the McLaren Mercedes stay ahead so he could get DRS. I think that would be the smartest of choices, as the McLaren Mercedes is going to run a little bit wide. And that's going to allow McLaren to come back at him. And the DRS will be open on the McLaren. But despite that, the Mercedes driver's trying to stuck around. But maybe not. He won't be able to do that. But he'll certainly have the DRS into the next DRS detection point. But Michael's got it done into 6th place. These remaining laps of the Grand Prix are going to be quite crucial, especially with these guys pretty much being the only drivers closer to one another. It's all about what we're going to be getting and what we're going to be compromising. And that is that, and definitely those medium tires are looking to show, and the tire deficit is now going to be working up for Brendo, while D's behind is arriving as well on the hard tire. He's only done 7 laps on them, so surely he's going to be getting closer, and he might get past to McLaren's as well if time allows, and if there's enough laps remaining. And already struggling McLaren is going to slightly make another mistake. Will Ryan, I think the McLaren driver just going to wait a little bit before the DRS detection point so he could get the DRS behind the Mercedes, and he's going to run a little bit wide once again. Ryan, it's now just a case of surviving to the end of the race, and already with the help of that DRS, Brendo will get past him. Meanwhile, Dees has now arrived behind these guys as well. It should be not long before the Ferrari gets past the Mercedes as well, and he's already almost right behind him. The DRS, I'm not sure if it's going to be available for Dees at this dissection point. The McLaren will have it open, so will the Ferrari, but I don't think he's going to be in a position to make the overtake. Right here. Certainly, he could try it at the next DRS point. He doesn't need to try that at the next DRS point. He's going to be side by side, but the Mercedes is going to just do enough to keep it ahead of the Ferrari, and will keep it ahead of, let's say, the man on screen, D's, yes, indeed. He's going to keep it ahead of these right there, but certainly, well done, everybody. Still racing's on, still it's not decided, still has not been the case of what we're going to be getting, and what we really have around the outside is going to move to the outside line. D's will get past the McLaren, Mercedes, I should say, already without a problem, and I think now it's a case of whether he can pull away or not, because 1.7 seconds to the McLaren might just bring him a extra position, but considering he's got 3-second time penalty, Ryan might just get that position. And look at that, so many drivers with penalties apart from the top 2 of Devon. But look at that, Ollie is there. He's now only got 5 tenths separating himself and Devon, but as I said earlier, it's going to be quite difficult for him though, because of the case of, you know, let's say his 3-second time penalty in the remaining laps. Even if he's able to get past the Ferrari right now, he's not going to be able to really pull away over 3 seconds in remaining time unless Devon struggles quite heavily. But the Ferrari driver has certainly done an exceptionally well done job, and I think even a P3 would make a lot for the Devon out there, achieving a podium and some constructors points for the Ferrari team. Four tenths separating the two, and he's not able to get past the Ferrari either. He's not able to do it around here. He's going to do it now or never, or either probably going to stay behind, but I think he's going to try, or to at least try and pull away from the rest of the pack behind. They're going to be will to will, and Ole will move over to second place, and he's now going to try and pull away at least, if not 3 seconds to the Ferrari. He's going to make sure he's away from the likes of Midu, from the likes of Ian, his teammate, to at least make sure and give himself a chance of a podium. Meanwhile, we talk about a podium. There might be a man looking to fight for points, and that is Dees. He's not able to get past the McLarens despite having a little bit of a tire deficit. In fact, no, there's not much tire deficit. 10 laps and 9 laps, but it's a different tire. But you know, by the time in this race, especially, the tire runs out of grip, we're going to be at the end of this race. While the McLaren does run a little bit wide, that might allow the Ferrari to get past him. That won't be the case, and Ryan has decided to come into the pits and rather retire out of the Grand Prix. And now only 3 drivers in this race without a penalty, while Dees, he isn't even in the race anymore. It's going to be the 2 of Tyrone and Devon who have got no penalty in this race at all, while everybody else has got, with the Raichu, with a 10-second penalty remember, finally D's will get past the McLaren, or really though, because Brendo's nearly going to try and come back at him as he's went into the back of the Ferrari and found it really difficult. And who is it? All right, that's yellow flag for the Mercedes of Ryan, who's decided to retire out in the pits, but that AI car coming out of the pit lane, certainly obviously no indication that they're going to be parked in a safe possible spot. Meanwhile, with penalties arriving, I think Raichu might to look at 5 seconds ahead of the next guy. He's anyways going to lose it to probably Freddy, because Freddy himself has got 3 seconds. But I'd assume Freddy's going to get P11, or Freddy's going to get P9, and Raichu's going to get P10, while Connabel's far away from these guys. DJ is not even in this race, and the 2 drivers we've lost is Bruno and Ryan, the 2 drivers. And finally, everybody is on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Meanwhile, the McLaren and the Ferrari are going to be at it. The 2 drivers have already taken the checkered flag. They're far down. Raichu and Freddy have taken the checkered flag in this race. Right here, Connabel should be taking the checkered flag as well. And pretty much, I mean, in fact, Tyron has. We didn't even focus about that, but that's going to be your man on screen, ladies and gentlemen. Tyron, with yet another dominating performance, is going to come home and win the Bahrain Grand Prix and add another win to his time. Meanwhile, it is going to be Oliver who's going to come over to the line by over 2.6 seconds, nearly getting the 2nd place, but he's going to come home to take 3rd place and a podium finish for the RB driver. And along, not to forget, Devin getting the 2nd place. Well done to him. Me to him P4, while Ian gets P5, while Michael will get that P5 because of Ian's penalties. Meanwhile, Dees and Brendo, the 2 drivers who haven't taken the checkered flag yet, is Brendo. That might have rather been on purpose. A bit of a slight to the end, but that's going to be the end of it, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to the end of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Tyron takes the win and enjoys it all. Yet another victory. This season keeps getting dominating and dominating, with the Mercedes at the top. Meanwhile, a Ferrari and a pink RB is going to be at it. But brilliantly done. Well done. Fantastic. I mean, all battles. And overall, a brilliant race. You know, sure, you could say, apart from Tyron being a little bit dominating, but I mean, he has been, and obviously only one solution to that is others improve and get better. Meanwhile, very well done to our race winner. Another big congratulations to Tyron. Well, these are going to be your race results, ladies and gentlemen. Tyron wins it ahead of the Ferrari of Devin in P2. A podium to Devin. Congratulations to him, and a huge congratulations to Oliver as well. Again, that's 3rd place, with Mido in 4th place, followed by Michael in P6, Ian, D's, and Brendo in P8. Raichu in P9, but that should be a P10, adding his 10-second time penalty for which he got for our in-race steward. And well, P9 for Freddy, that's going to be. Then Connabel in P11 with the Ryan, DJ, and Bruno, the 3 drivers we've lost. And surely it was a good weekend. Hope you all had fun, and we were back with a good race to follow under the lights at Bahrain. Brilliantly done by everybody. I think it was a bit of a chaotic start, but I think after that, everyone took good care and certainly did an exceptional job. Hope you all watching really had fun, and then it's going to be the end of it then, ladies and gentlemen. From all of us here at New Age and myself, Zabi,